Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Dojo Sunday tournaments. We've got 5 different sections today. Looks like the audio's on, the video's good. I'm going to run off for 5 minutes and then run back to provide commentary and such, but I just wanted to get the stream up because often that serves as like basically the ping or the alert for people to actually come play in the tournaments, right? So that's why I'm starting the stream just a little bit early for me here. Yeah, if other people come in with questions, just tell them !play. That's the command to get in there and play. So I'll see you all in a couple minutes. Guys. So yeah, I'm gonna be away for 5 minutes. You guys, hopefully there's some people here who know how this works since we've been doing it for like 10 months at this point. And hopefully you can answer questions of first timers coming in here, help them to join the right club or join the right tournament, tell them the tournament starts in 25 minutes, stuff like that. I'll be right back. Sure, Seth. Yeah, I can do that. Let's see. I think I can. Yep, you're in, Seth. If anyone else needs to get into the verified club in the next like 5 or 10 minutes, ping Coasty on Discord or something, because I'm not going to let you in while I'm in the shower. All right. So, folks, also you'll see up here you've got a position. It's white to play or black to play. Either way, you can try and solve it. What's the best move for white? What's the best move for black? See what you think of this position. If you need something to do while waiting, thanks in advance for helping new people get situated here. See you soon. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, that'll be good. All right, let me just move some things. Tournament starting soon, folks. If you want to play, !play for the join information. What do we have? 10 minutes still? We're okay. 10 minutes. Wie wird in Bananen? Yeah, there's no sound. I bet you do, Corporeal, but I don't know too much about it. You probably saw when I ran away that there's like Korean characters on it or something. But let me see, Steve. There may be something I can do. Okay, Steve North, I let you in. Probably just a name, right, PB? Yeah. I figured it was just a name. But the important thing about this shirt is the team name. Can you tell what team I'm on? Charlie's like, I could have guessed even if you didn't show me the letters. Team Blue. I have no idea what sport it is. I don't even know if it's a real jersey or if it's just something that someone made for fun. And I know this, a friend of mine got this shirt not in Korea, but in Kenya. When she was living and working there. And she got it in like a secondhand or thrift shop in Kenya. And it had blood on it. That's everything there is to know about this shirt for the moment. It's reasonably interesting. So I guess good you asked, PB. But it remains mysterious. There's no answer behind my answer. It just leads to more questions. I do type hella fast glitching. I don't know what it is like technically in terms of like, having done a bunch of speed tests, but it's fast. Something fast. If you've joined, you should be good, Ash Talks Chess. There should have been an orange button also somewhere in the tournament that you clicked on at some point, right? Should have been an orange button to press. Yeah, if you find more about the shirt corporeal, that would be totally cool. I guess Charlie could put the shirt in his book eventually, right? Mysterious shirt from an ancient Korean professional chess team. Found with blood on it. DNA analysis unravels a 2,000-year-old mystery. Anyone can play. Yummy sandwich. You just got to find the right section and be part of one of the Chess Dojo groups on chess.com. Because the way tournaments work on chess.com is they use groups to like pair people within the group. Anyway. So, no, the verified group is its own tournament today, Michiko. We're trying it out for the first time. We'll see how it works. So there's actually a total of 5 sections today. 2 of them are from the verified group and 3 of them are from the main dojo group. It's a good question, Corporeal. That we could investigate. We could call up my friend and ask her. I did not see the Meltwater Champions Tour FTX Crypto Cup. Nope. Didn't even hear about it. Tournament starts in like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that. Immense pain seeing your friends with higher ratings. Magnus, Hikaru, Anish, and other GMs. No. I haven't really heard Ash Talks. My chess life lately really revolves around like, 1,300 rated rivals clashing against each other a lot more than around Magnus and Hikaru these days. But if they play like a classical tournament, I'll definitely watch. I'm guessing that this is some kind of like rapid tournament online organized by the Magnus Carlsen Chess Tour, and those tournaments haven't really sparked my interest that much. So, if they're playing 15-minute chess, like, okay, I don't go to bed like feeling like I missed out on the purpose of the day if I miss some rapid games. If they're playing in a classical tournament, I will definitely watch it. Yeah, Paulie. I mean, I think it's probably a pretty common thing because I had that problem, and it also sounds like a very natural thing that when you're thinking strategically, like your tactics and calculation go out the window. I don't know. We'll have to think about that together. Let me just make sure everything's ready. Everybody sees how to get into the tournaments. Everybody's set and set up. Let me just see how we're doing here. Sunday Rapid under 1,300 has plenty of players. Sunday Rapid 13 to 1,700 bursting with players. Sunday Rapid 1,700 plus. Looking good. Enough players for a good 4-round tournament. Now let's look at the verifieds. Verified under 1,600 has enough players. Yep. And verified 1,600 plus could use 1 or 2 more. But I mean, the verified group is still very small, so that's kind of like expected. Hopefully they'll enjoy their little tight-knit tournament, I imagine. All right. Do I raid streamers? Yeah. Yeah, I do. I raid at the end of most of my streams. MJGG, what's your rating? The tournaments do have like slightly unusual rating cutoffs today compared to other weeks. Michiko, you could switch yourself if you don't want to play in the verified section that's really high rated. You could hit like a little X to withdraw from it, and then under tournaments you should also be able to see a tournament called Sunday Rapid under 1300 from the normal Chess Dojo tournament, and then you can open that one and enter it. Oh yeah, there you are, 1292. All right, let me just check on one thing now. I'm going to go check in the classical tournament channel in our Discord whether people want me to do my rap song next week or this week. Nobody said a preference. Well, if nobody cares, maybe I won't do it at all. Or maybe I'll just do it today. Because I've been waiting a long time for you guys to hit 150 players in that tournament. If you verify, can anyone see our full name? That's a good question, Aaron, which would have to go to Kostya, I'm afraid. Will there be a Mega Rapid next Sunday is a great question, Prophylaxis. I was sort of planning that there would be next Sunday, but I'm slightly on the fence about it because so next Saturday we're going to like stream all day. We're going to do a special event next Saturday and stream the whole day. And then I wanted to do the Mega Rapid next Sunday, but I haven't yet figured out the prizes from last Mega Rapid. I haven't yet gone through and changed the points based on the cheaters. I have to do like the whole like cross table. I have to do it over by hand. And then I have to give out the prizes, and I haven't done that. And that makes me feel like, what's the point of running another Mega Rapid if I haven't done prizes? I mean, we could do a Mega Rapid just to have an 8-round tournament just for the fun of it, but it won't have like the normal trappings because I haven't been able to keep up with my work, and I'm feeling very guilty and crummy about it. Honestly, I'm feeling bad about it. Good morning, Morphe. I saw you were in there early. I think you were the first person to register for the first verified tournament. Yes, truly, Steve. Truly, I feel bad about it. Truly, I do put in some work. That is true. And I also feel bad that I'm not able to keep up with all the things I want to do. It's all true. The May June Classical is right now, Ash Talks Chess. And today you can still register for round 4, which will be this coming week. You can register until 9 p.m. Pacific time tonight for the classical tournament. Do we blacklist cheaters? We do kick cheaters out. I mean, they're not able to play in our tournaments unless they provide like a proper apology and get a new account from chess.com and apologize to the opponents that they cheated against in the dojo tournaments and get pardoned by their opponents. Then we'll let them back into our tournaments for a second try. Michiko, sorry, I'm so confused why you're not able to join the tournament. Okay, the tournament started, by the way, I think. Let me see. Probably some of them have started. Oh no, there's still a few seconds ticking down. It's in less than a minute though. These tournaments, so. Michiko's still in the verified tournament. She probably can't join the other tournament because she hasn't quit the verified tournament. Enjoy, Morphe fan. We'll see you at the end. Late join is possible, Wrath of Gods. Yeah, there will only be like 2 or 3 late join spots per section. So they'll get like, grabbed up pretty quickly, but it is possible to late join any chess.com tournament. I mean, she should play in whichever tournament she prefers playing in. But yeah, if she wants to join a different tournament, she has to X out of the tournament she's in right now. And I believe, Michiko, the X will be somewhere up in this upper right-hand corner in this area here if you're in a tournament that you want to quit. Okay, now we can start opening up games from the first verified tournament here. Right, and other tournaments in progress. The 1700 plus section of unverified has also started. So folks, you can go to that. To your boards, right? Like 2800 soon, it's your move. Get in there. Alex Babel putting the bishop outside of the pawn chain to trade it, and then making a light squared pawn train. And Grand Maître Jim. Thank you, Erud. All right. Nice, BG Cube. You see the mass of pawns is like one big spider monkey working together with 8 tentacled octopus arms. All right. So we're into games. We're into games now. Other sections, each section will start like, 1 minute after the next. So like the verified under 1600 has just started as well. So I'm opening up those games. You can, if you're in the 1300 to 1700 normal section, that's probably starting next, in like 10 seconds or something, or yeah, 10 seconds exactly. So we'll keep opening up games as they go. And I'm going to pick 1 or 2 feature games, I think, per round to focus on. I prefer doing commentary that way rather than like clicking around randomly between hundreds of games. So, I mean, I'm going to try and like have every game open. I'm going to close this knight and pawn ending. Folks, for anyone who is curious about this knight and pawn ending, in the starting position, if white plays g4 check, then white can win this endgame. And if it's black's move and black plays h5, then the endgame's a draw. The knight won't have enough room. Anyway, it's very, very tricky to fight this pawn with the king and knight that are both short-range pieces while trying to attack and win a pawn on this side of the board. It can be done if you gain the space from g4, and it can't be done if black plays h5, restraining this pawn here. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna close it down here, that position. And I'm going to open up some more games here before I settle on which game I want to focus on. If I open up all the games, then it's easier to find them later, if I'm switching games or someone comes in with a question about their game, etc. Pauly Ludmir's The Professor of Prophylaxis, my favorite academic subject, the prophylaxis. And also the final section is now in progress. If you're in the normal under 1300, your games have started. The Death Cyber is here. The Banana Stand. We got a huge turnout today, I think, given that we've got 5 different sections of tournaments. I feel like we've got like 80 players today easily. All right. All right, so let me just click around and pick a game. Why not just start here with Mr. Disco, my student, whose weakness is punishing opponents' mistakes in the opening. Really struggles to take advantage of it, but he's been working on it a lot, and I've seen him do it a couple times successfully. And here we see him trying to punish an opening. We get an exchange Slav, and the opponent brings the bishop outside of the pawn chain really early from black, leaving these two squares sensitive. When those two squares are sensitive, if you think there might be a punish, or even not a total punish, but a way to create some pressure on the opponent, it's with queen b3 pressuring these 2 points, and he goes for it. So black plays b6, right, which avoids losing that pawn, but notice it further weakens the light squares that this bishop has left behind. Now, in this position, knight e5 looks very, very tempting, getting into the weak square right away. Although notice right now the bishop can still retreat because black hasn't yet played e6. So black has some hopes of defending this diagonal as may become necessary. We'll see. So white plays bishop f4 first instead. Now as black, I would strongly consider just trading that knight off with the bishop. Now, maybe that's not why somebody brought their bishop outside of the pawn chain. But if you don't trade it off, this knight's likely to come to e5 and actually be better than your bishop. And you guys may know that I normally think that bishops are better than knights. I don't like trading them for knights unless my opponent's spent a tempo on something like h3 or something like that. But here, like, my thought is that knight e5 looks really good for white, and that if I take, at least I give white doubled pawns, and then I'm playing e6 and setting up a pawn structure on light squares where I, won't miss this bishop too much. So here I actually think it probably makes the most sense to trade that bishop. I know I'm giving this at like a pretty high level, given that it's a game between players rated on average 800, 400 versus 1200. But that's what there is to say about this position, so yeah, I am using a standing desk. Lord Peep, you can definitely ask Jesse what he thinks of people with standing desks. Knight c6, knight e5 looks good here, and you see here's that weakness from my student, retreating the queen instead of finding the knockout. Can any of you guys find the knockout here? The one missed by my student right here. Well, Lord Pete, when you say it that fast, you make it seem easy. I'm kidding. Good on you. You either see it or you don't, like if you do see it, you do see it. If you don't see it, you're like never going to see it. My student thought over a minute on this move. He knows it's a critical moment. He knows tactics have started. He's attacking stuff like this diagonal's weak. His opponent just took a pawn from him. His queen's under attack. He stops and he thinks for over a minute and he can't find it, right? So sometimes you just don't see something, right? And like thinking longer isn't going to make you see it. But you guys are correct that queen a4 would win a piece and just end black. Game over. Instead, my student retreats the queen. Black retreats the knight. Well, that works out for my student. He eats the knight. He's coming out ahead anyway. Comes back here. Now what move should my student play? There may be more than one good answer, but I've got one move in mind. And it's the one suggested by Race to GM and Lord Peep as well. Yeah. So knight f7, as suggested by one player, does attack queen and rook like twice, so it wins some material. But knight f7, queen f4, knight h8, right? And then your knight is perhaps trapped. If black manages to win that knight, you won't even have gained material with this whole excursion. The key thing to note is you just need to bring the knight to g6 and, whoops, sorry. You just need to bring the knight to g6, and because the queen's attacked and defended, you're still going to get that rook, but you don't need to sacrifice anything. Okay. Similarly, with this knight takes g4 suggestion, the opponent can take this piece with their queen, and they don't lose anything, right? So it's very important actually to go here so the bishop is defended. The opponent has to waste a move just moving their queen without capturing anything, and then you can take that rook on h8. Queen b4 might be an interesting move there, actually. Yeah, Paul, nice suggestion. That makes things significantly more complicated. Yeah, super cool. Paul's idea is that on knight takes rook, the queen could take here. And black's lost a full tempo, but still has chances to trap the knight. So that's a very, very good idea. White might have to dig deep here calculation-wise. While the bishop's still defended, play this. Knight a4, hitting the queen. Queen still has to move somewhere. She doesn't have a check because of the a-pawn. I think this is the only square for her to go to. And then you can finally take the rook. Perhaps it all works out for white. Okay, queen a4 was played. Knight d7, knight b5. So this queen check puts the queen where it covers queen b4. And that makes knight b5 a very strong move. I mean, there's other options for white that also look powerful, like check, here, check, here, check, here, check, here, takes, takes, takes. Some people would go for that position. So that move could be like decent, but black can also just recapture with the queen retreating. You can also try knight takes g4 here, but there's queen takes f4. Now if you go knight g6, it's not good because of this. There's a good chance knight b5 has played by my students. Maybe even the best move here. It sure looks promising. Oh, actually, the queen's defending this, so just taking here is best, huh? Thanks, Lord Peep. You said, wait, what? And I realized what you meant. Yeah, the whole point of this was partly to cover like these two dangling things on b4 and f4. So it's a nice move, and easy would be to take this, that's for sure. Knight here is played, queen here, knight check, king here, queen sacrifice. Perhaps my student said checkmate out loud and then was surprised by this move. That's happened to me once. That I played a move, said checkmate, and then my opponent took my queen. OTB. Put my queen next to their king. My queen was defended, like in this case by, I think not by a knight, but by a rook. But my queen was defended. I put it right there on some square like that. Said checkmate. Then my opponent took their knight and captured my queen. I was like, oh, the knight could move backwards. Didn't see that. So yikes. My student, you can see, really struggling to do the knockout. I mean, just the tactical moves are all over the place for white here. You know, just not keeping track of what is or isn't hanging at all. Another, still good chances to win this position with two knights against the queen and black's king badly placed. But, I mean, you can see the moves are just spraying all over the place here. Good. Found knight f7. That's a good one. Likely the best move in that position. Now knight takes queen is best, which may not be obvious because this knight may have dreams of taking this rook. But the best is to take the queen, because if pawn takes knight, you have knight c7 and the other knight goes and takes that rook. e4. Well, development is good, but again, I mean, just not seeing the tactics at all. One second. Sorry, guys, 1 second. All right, folks, just a pressing question from the classical tournament, I guess. All right, so what's going on? We got a knight check again. Pieces on the board. Probably just looking to make a trade. What's the material advantage for white? It's 1 piece. Definitely not enough to guarantee victory in this section. Smothered mates are extremely satisfying in actual games, Basil, yes. Well, big boys don't cry. You're not allowed to lose games on purpose. That's against the rules on chess.com. So if you want the lowest rating on chess.com, you have to actually be like the worst player on chess.com. And I would guess the lowest possible rating is 0. Yeah, white had an option of playing bishop g5 check last move right here. You guys see rook h4 lining up 2 undefended pieces from white. Sometimes that kind of a move can win a piece. Here it could have lost a rook if white had found bishop g5, but they didn't. They defended the bishop on g4. Black goes here. Now we're going to get a trade. And we'll play out some more of this endgame. You don't have to work hard. You just have to not really know how to play. The lowest is 100 sit on. You can't be under 100. Okay. Even I didn't know. Rook's preparing to double through this pawn on d6 that looks more or less dead. It's a good plan from white. Jacob offers side defense, which is the best that black can do for sure. Yeah, not allowed to lose on purpose. It's a true rule. That violates the fair play policy if you throw a game. We've had a dojo member doing that on purpose once in the past, not knowing the rule, and we had to discuss it. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. Nice. Jacob's Lee chess rating is over 1,000. Then his chess.com rating should come up a little bit soon as well. That lets your opponent take your pawn. Better than giving your pawn for free would be picking like a target and going after it, or picking one pawn that's a pass pawn that you want to promote. So e5, e6 is one plan, and rook g6, g5 is another plan. I'm going to click on a secondary game as well. Over here, we have equal material, but positionally this pawn on d6 is potentially a big strength, this far advanced pawn in an endgame. It's cramping black a little bit, and white seems to have access to these squares here, right? Like knight f6. It's also a potential weakness, so white's got to play this quite carefully. For example, knight f6 and d7. Black has this move, trading rooks. And then when white takes back, bishop takes bishop, winning a piece for black. White can also throw in this check in this position here. Then rook takes, there's knight check. Perhaps with a drawn position. I don't see a win for white or black. That would be pretty complicated. Oh yeah, there's an easier solution from Wrath of Gods. On bishop f8, you can take with the king. And then after the recapture, you just take here. This would like work for white if they had rook c8, but the knight's on that square too. So white would lose there. So instead, white's burning a lot of time. Look at the time. White's down to 3 minutes of black against black's 9. And that tells you how important it is for white to find a strong move here. White really needs something good. Okay, knight f6 was just played, I think. I don't yet have any idea what the follow-up will be. But black plays king g7 instantly because the onus is on white. The pressure is on white to come up with something. So black just wants to keep that time ticking on white, not give white any time to try and think of something better. I'm not a particularly quick resigner either, Seth. Yeah. I mean, I sometimes think it's... I mean, I definitely think it's silly to, like, play on down, like, huge amounts of material relative to whatever rating level it is. But the amount of material compared to the rating level... or the amount of material at which it's silly depends on the rating level. So, like, under 1,000, you could play on down a queen, and it's not yet silly, right? Because... players at that rating will lose games with an extra queen. So it kind of varies, but under 1,000, I think you could probably like keep playing almost under any circumstances. Yeah. I mean, if you're really like out of pieces, if the opponent's up, I don't know, 20 points of material, it's like an obscene amount, right? If the opponent's up like 20 points of material, I suppose you could resign. Although, I mean, bear in mind, like we've seen players under 1,000 draw with king and rook against king, or stalemate with king, queen, and knight against king and stuff like that, right? So, I mean, you could always just play it out in case of stalemate, which is not a 0% chance. And then as you like move up the rungs, I think, you know, once you're over 1,000, being down a queen for nothing, not a queen for a rook or a queen for like 2 pieces or something, but just being down a queen for absolutely nothing, I think could be like a reasonable place to resign if you feel like it. And whoa, everything got traded off over here. Anyway, you can imagine it sort of like moves on up, right? Once you're like 1,400, I think like a rook for nothing starts to be a rook for like 0. That was so fancy. Let me see what happened. So here, trade takes. D7. Takes. Oh yeah, that makes sense. And what else could black do about this? Nothing better than that. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I approve highly. Wow. Nice thing white found. But of course, black is still better. Black is still better. I mean, this endgame is near winning, but tricky to play. Tricky to play. White's got a minute against 9. It's tough. It's tough. Oh, no. I would say As white, you don't want to push pawns when you're down a pawn in a situation like this. Basically, you want to keep your king and knight centralized and hope that when black plays a5, they blunder some like, rook a7, knight c5 kind of thing to trap it. But white's trying to do something and it just creates more weaknesses. Like, rook h2, winning the game, that sort of thing. So I'm very skeptical of moving your pawns on the other side of the board and creating weaknesses. Maybe white thought that long term they were just dead lost no matter what, and so they were hoping to just create some kind of weird practical problems for black by moving these up, threatening g5. Maybe you don't know where to put your bishop, but certainly in a classical game, don't touch these pawns. You only move them if you really think you're dead lost otherwise. Okay, threatening knight e6 check. King g8, rook b8, king h7, knight f8, king g7, which does nothing. So knight e6 not even a threat. Black can just ignore it. They're not likely to ignore it, but they could. I think rook h2 is a pretty optimal move here. That's what I would go for, I think. Right. Lord Peep says white's going for the imaginary kill, right? Threaten something imaginary so that your opponent maybe gets freaked out and does something weird, right? Like black could play g5 thinking they need more space for their king or something like that, which blocks in their bishop, gives white, some weak squares to work with. So the thing is, black has time, and black played quickly on obvious moves and now used a bunch of time on a trickier move. So it's a very, very good sign for black's skills that black is using time instead of hoping to flag white, right? The black played quickly when they were confident, they knew they were putting pressure on white, and when they saw a potential problem, then they spent time on their clock thinking about it. That said, I don't think rook b2 was a good move, right? White plays rook a7, and now this pawn is hanging, plus there's still the imaginary threat for black to deal with. All right, forces the knight to e6. King h7 loses and king g8 wins. King g8 played. Oh, maybe rook a7 is drawish here. Hang on. And white offered a draw, by the way, folks. This is an experienced player trick. You offer the opponent a draw when you want them to not take it. Only when you want them to not take it. So he offers the draw saying, like, I'm trying to do this perpetual and get a draw, hoping the black will be like, no, I can still win with my a-pawn. Bishop c3, rook check, just sacking that pawn and keep playing. Now, is this position like winning good for white or anything? No. But is it bad for white anymore? Not really. White has, equality and can hope to outplay the opponent in this position. So that's probably what white was hoping for, that black would avoid the draw, but black did take it. So that game is over. Let's go see another game, which is going to have brutal time pressure because basically all the pieces are still on the board and the players have 1.5 minutes against 2. Seth would have gone down in flames. That's what white was looking for. Yep. Thanks, Sebas. We're happy. We're happy to have your positive testimonial. Hi, Puppy Dog. Hi, JB. And hello. Who else tuned in and said hi recently? Harry McDork. That's right. Howdy, Harry. How's it going? This position looks better for black, despite the like pseudo-symmetry of it all. The black bishop is looking at a slightly weakened diagonal where black can make threats against the king. The black knights are both attacking white's pawn. White's bishop is not as good because it's blocked in by its own pawns. And the rook's on this file. Of course, white should just play rook e1 and try and trade it off. All right, welcome to the dojo, Gorkum. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you like what Dubious Savant gave you. Ooh, Kostya looked at that game yesterday. That's cool. It was a very interesting game. The JB Halgilda game, right? Would have been yesterday's game. If JB had kids, I would say she was like in focus mode for the first hour, and then her kids came running into the room and started demanding things from her. But I think it was probably like work called on a weekend. All right, rook's trade. We will see an endgame. We will see an endgame. White's just got to play a little bit faster, you know, just hold things together and not run completely out of time. That's reasonable, JB. I mean, there'd be no point getting upset about getting called away or, you know, having your concentration taken away by external factors in the middle of a game. If you were at an OTB tournament, you know, nobody could have come to bother you. That's part of the nice thing about those. But yeah, playing online, we get what we get, and you know. All right, the knight heads for perhaps c4 to look at the a pawn, perhaps e4, hoping to get traded. And then the pawn come in for a fork. This bishop needs to escape the knight. Knight a4 to c5 has been what I was thinking that white should do for a while. So very, very good by Cartier to grab a good moment to do that. This bishop could come off of its passive diagonal now if it wants, although it's not that bad there either. King f1 is solid, just covering some penetration squares from the queen in case of later trades. And white's doing just fine here for the moment, except for the fact that they've got less than 10 seconds on the clock. By the by, I didn't do my normal coverage of the classical tournament yesterday. I know a lot of you are here, and I'm sorry about that. You know, basically I sustained another stupid injury and needed to see to it and lay low for a little bit. And yeah, I'm planning to do coverage next Saturday. Planning to stream all day next Saturday. 7 a.m. to midnight or something. Yeah, it does include, Erud, my shoulders, my back, and my neck. So I'm like stretching them a little bit today, but it hurts like crazy to move it. Huh. Does that move sound? I guess queen takes a3, wins a pawn. Yeah. Black's on their way to winning. How did the queen get in? Queen e4. Sneaky. The queen can't be tolerated, but she did get in anyway. Dang. It's too bad. Now black can go about winning the game. Probably can take twice on e5, but they've only got 15 seconds to think about it. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling a lot better right now. Not good, but a lot better. Now you either take the pawn or you play here to stop e6. I think you can handle e6, so you should take a pawn while you can. But here to here looks crushing as well. Queen here, queen e4 maybe covers it. Okay, yeah, she doesn't want to allow anything. Now she could play queen c3 to defend it, or queen c5, yeah. Knight on e6. Yeah, this is very safe. Eyelash has got this one now. And by the way, we're like very close to the end of round 1. Some sections may already have finished their last games from round 1, so everybody, make sure you're still in live chess. Make sure you're still in your own tournament if you're planning to keep playing and haven't withdrawn. And keep your eye out for your round 2 games starting, because they might be starting. I wasn't assaulted by my children, so no. I mean, not this time, sort of. It's not really like... I mean, they probably assaulted me at some point yesterday, but this injury was not caused by them, for once. Queen check, queen e6, and that's a win. We've got very few games left, but let's check in on Bob Dole versus Map View. Deep in the endgame, the black king is in winning king position, so knight e4 check should perhaps win the game. Yeah, it does. MapView played it faster than I could calculate it, but it does win. Jacob claims he won? The endgame, it was rook against rook and bishop? I don't believe it. Wait, how did this pawn queen? Black loses the winning endgame. Perhaps with a mouse slip. Right here, the king has to go to b5, right? So that it can keep up with the pawn. And white takes the game. HP Bob Dole receives a gift from MapView. Flash from the mouse slip gods. All right, we've got 3 seconds left for Professor of Prophylaxis. Oh, but Ludmir's has an extra queen. It doesn't matter what time white has. They are going down this game. And we will close up these games. And there's still a game going. A Mauer versus Banana Stand. But almost every section should be in round 2 now, folks. Almost every single round should... Every section except one, your round 2 game has started. Rook versus queen and bishop. This is definitely going to be a win for Banana Stand. Takes a pawn. Bishop e3 is a real finisher here. Okay, similar, except it's better to trade your bishop for the rook. So that's why bishop e3 would be so devastating. Okay, I guess that works. Oh, Cannibal Bishop, tell us about it. All right, Black got this game anyway. I'm going to start opening up round 2 games. Went 3-4 while playing bad chess. Okay. So, round 2. Eyelash versus Nargave. That means in the first round, Nargave must have had like a big upset. Right? Because Nargave's like the lowest rated player in this section, I think. So, congratulations to Nargave on the game we didn't see. Mitch Fabian against National Master Rosenberg. Alix against Hiket Nunk, an all-French matchup. And Cartier Tonk against Falk. It is, JB. That's what we're doing today. First verified tournament. Actually, let me change the info here. Eyelash won, Paul. And that's why Eyelash versus Nargave is our top board matchup right now. Eyelash playing a King's Indian attack. Woo! I like Black's setup against this pretty well. I would personally play e5 for Black here since White hasn't stopped it. But it is nice having the bishop outside of the pawn chain and otherwise a very solid game. Yeah, there are a lot of strong players today, Siddhant. That is true. That is true. All right, I'm going to open up another tournaments round 2. Got Basil versus Banauso, Samanda versus the Lucky Fluke, Reza versus Seth, and the finisher versus Jeff. Michiko and Charlie. Yeah, that's a matchup. Oh, JB, you can already get in. You are absolutely verified and known. Just apply to the club or send a message to Kostya or whatever you need to do, but he'll let you in even though you haven't been playing a year. He said like whatever like he put like maybe 3 guidelines or characteristics or qualities or whatever that one should have, but they're not like each like 100% necessary. They're just they just give an idea of ways he could be looking to verify somebody. But I'm pretty sure he'll take you anyway. Craddock. That's funny. Oh, look at Michiko's bishop. Owning. It's repurposed to a new diagonal and a really good one. This knight is very, very strong in this post too. Tying the black queen to c7. The rook wanted to free the queen from it so the queen could go do something more, royal and glorious. But now with this rook getting chased away, the queen's stuck here. Bishop's got that under control, and White's in absolutely crushing position here. Actually, I mean, it's like positionally winning for White, more or less. Plans include doubling rooks on the f-file, playing knight c3 to d5 with the second knight, right? Or playing g4, g5. Now, g4, queen h4, knight c7 is unnecessarily messy, so that's going to be bad. We're going to rule that idea out. And so the option is to bring this rook to f1 or bring this knight this way. And I don't know how to say which one is better than the other, but they're both really strong. Oh man, headed for the right square, but through the wrong square. Ah. Sick transit, Gloria, good position. Via little blunders, huh? That's the way it goes. All right, let's open up some more games. Next tournament, we've got in progress MJ for the first time appearing as a top seed, rated 1298. Probably only one win away from crossing 1300. Mr. Disco did indeed lose to Jacob Pham. I don't know how that was possible since Jacob Pham had no pieces on the board, but we see Jacob Pham crossing 400 for the first time and playing a very normal looking King's Indian defense here for Black. Wow. Wow. Yeah, 400. Crossing barriers. Let me see if MJGG has ever been over 1300 before. Oh, 1600 in March. but up 200 points now. It must have been like some super provisional, like won a couple games by luck when they first joined or something. Because we can see that for a long time they've been in the 1100s. I think I have one rating like that too, where it says like my highest rating is some like extremely huge number that must have been when I was provisional and won 2 or 3 games, and so it has nothing to do with like what my actual strength ever was at that time control. It's unfortunate then you don't get to like, you know, see yourself crossing your new milestones and stuff in the same way. But whatever, you know, it's life. It's life. Oh, I've got some messages here. Let me check. Cool. Whatever I did with the verified club was okay with Kostya. I didn't mess anything up there. Sorry, just checking the Discord for a second in case there's anything relevant to what's going on today. All right, knight, bishop. Everything looks fine. What are the plans for white or black in a position like this? One plan for white is to pressure this d6 pawn. Queen d2, rook d1, bishop g3. Oh, white just grabs a pawn. That's more tactical than strategic, but very, very good idea. Lord Peep says it looks good and is right as well. Pox45. Let me help you out and clarify. There are 3 sections here for which you just need to be in the Chess.com Dojo group. And today, for the first time, we're offering 2 sections that are for the Dojo Verified. Those are for people who want to play with their real name verified by us. And it's a new initiative. Kostya's just started. Thanks, Pravid. We'll see you next time. You are in the verified group and you can't find the link, Pismo. So if you are in the verified section under play, here are the 2 sections of your tournament. There's a verified under 1600, which is tournament number 23333577, and there's a 1600 plus for the verified, which is tournament 23333576. And hopefully you can see those links there in chess.com live links. Yeah, Pox, you can apply even if you don't have every single one of the characteristics on the list. Apply, and Kostya will get back to you about your application. Okay, and in the meantime, you can play in our normal tournaments, which we've been running for just about a year without the verified club. That's just a new initiative that we're trying out. In the meantime, you can play in the normal sections, and then yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly Kostya's process for verifying people into the verified club, but I think it involves some tier of Patreon support. I think probably a pretty minimal tier, just a way to check that people are an extra way to check people are real. Maybe he asks you to send him an image of your ID or something like that. Non-verified are absolutely real players. We've been doing everything for you, and we will continue to do everything for you. It's just an extra option. This doesn't say anything negative about people who are not in the verified group. A possible benefit of being in the verified group is that there's very, very unlikely to be cheaters. But I think cheaters is already a pretty small problem, but it's a bit of a problem. I mean, it's mainly a problem for like some people at the very top of our tournaments who end up playing against cheaters a little bit more often. The verified club represents like a major hurdle for anyone to cheat and makes it much harder for them to cheat, make a new account, and cheat again after getting banned, because they'll have to send us like a new picture ID or something, a new payment method on Patreon, etc., etc. You can talk to Kostya more about it. It's more like his idea and his program. I don't know too much about it, although I trust that it's a good idea. And verified might allow us to do some other things like, I don't know. We'll see. Like, for example, we could offer prizes and not just be like, well, whatever prizes we offer, like a cheater is going to take them. Right? So like right now, we would never offer like a cash prize previously. Although I prefer the prizes we offer anyway. I mean, I think like if you're a professional chess player, you should be earning money. But if you're an amateur chess player, I think winning, lessons, books, like chances to play against good players, stuff like that is really like a great way of structuring it and makes sense. So. All right. Erud says Kostya will respond well on Discord, so you'll get an answer to your inquiry in a reasonable amount of time. Okay, so white's got 2 extra pawns now, and we'll want to bring rooks into the middle of the board. Then if black challenges them, white can just trade off the rooks, headed towards an endgame that's winning for white. If black doesn't challenge white, then the rooks will be well placed on the open file. I think I didn't finish opening up all the games, did I? Whoa, Banana Stand is on the attack against Jacob Pham. And the nice thing for white is they didn't even sack material to get here. They could have. The position's good enough that I expected white was down a piece to go for this attack. But if white's not down a piece, then they should just develop the last piece over here and, just be confident that white basically has a winning position developing, I think. Maybe we need to be a little more careful than that. Check the move. Rook g8, make sure we've got somewhere to go. Queen h5 check would be sufficient. Yeah. Okay, so rook comes to h1. You can, Mr. Alex. We're in round 2, so there are 2 rounds left, rounds 3 and 4. So you can try and join. It depends. Chess.com has a maximum number of late joins. So the only way you'll know if you can join or not is by finding the right tournament and checking if there's an orange join button for you. There's 5 different sections today based on what group you're a part of and what your rapid rating is on chess.com, etc. I don't recognize your username, so I don't know if you've played with us a bunch before or not. But, we're happy to... Everyone in chat also will help answer questions for you about how to get into the games if I'm focused on... Like, sometimes I'm just watching the chessboard and talking about chess, and not answering every comment on the stream. Let me open up some more games. Sunday rapid section, 1300 to 1700. We got 74 against Chestien. Ollie Oxals. This white king is oddly placed. If it were on h1, the position would be totally normal. But since it's on e2 and it doesn't have a way to just sort of like walk out of the center, it's going to be perhaps slightly tricky here to figure out how white wants to play this position. Maybe white's going to have to play d4 to block that bishop and then walk the king. But d4 is undesirable for white here because it blocks this bishop more. Well, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's okay. It slightly weakens our light squares. We don't have a light squared bishop. The opponent does. Yeah, d4 is not really desirable. Oh, it's a chance. Let's run. Let's run. Let's run. Oh, but white's feeling confident and makes a threat. Good, Bob Dole, good. Cannibal Bishop really wants to know if it was a Bond Cloud. All right, let's see. Oh, no, that was the other game. Sorry, how did I get switched between games? Where am I? Sorry, I'm looking for our game. Not a Bond Cloud, just a normal opening. Check here. Wow. So it actually leads to a very, very interesting game. I think we could follow this game and be quite interested by it. So we've got the white king that's badly placed, the white bishop pair that's missing, but on the other hand, black's development is starting to lag a little bit, right? Because they moved the knight and bishop a bunch of times, making those threats. Keep moving this bishop again here when it was already on a good square. So black's really, you see this move here, this is a very, very bad move to move this bishop again when it's already on a good square, right? And it shows perhaps that black doesn't realize like how pressing it is to get some other pieces into the game. And when you realize what black did earlier also, right, with two moves, with two pieces just going on the attack like this, right? Like it may have sort of worked out, but also it's like a bad sign. Like if you think you can do stuff with just two pieces and you just keep doing stuff with two pieces, right? It's like a bad sign. So I'm worried about whether or not black is going to remember to bring other pieces out. Yeah, why black played king f8 instead of castling, I don't know for sure, UFO. Castling makes probably more sense here than king f8. Yeah, it's probably a little bit better. Black may have been worried about bishop h6, and that would be a reason not to castle. The bishop is blocked by the f-pawn, so black may have thought white could play bishop h6 in one move, or black might have just thought white's going to play f5 and they didn't want to deal with bishop h6 then. But yeah, okay, a new piece comes out for black. That's somewhat of a good sign. White has a pretty interesting pawn sack available here, which blows open both king's positions at the same time. White's got to, remember that, like, as excited as they may get, their own king is also a problem. So, all right, let me just check something. Oh, whoops. Okay, I think there's one more section here I need to open up. This one, this one, this one, this one, and the grand maître, of course. All right, now back to our feature game. Queen on e7. What should white do? I mean, I really want this king off of the e-file. All right, Pauly agrees with me, gets the king out of the way. Now this becomes, I would say, a threat around here. It'd be nice to go here and here too, but it's a start. How many pin puzzles do you need to do? Sometimes a lot. Sometimes it takes a long time. Ooh, Althea Oxals is down to 2 minutes for this game. Yikes. Okay, so as black, we're facing some danger on the king side. And white's going to want to bring out this bishop to g5 or something, king on c2, rook on e1. So what do we do as black? Yeah, move the knight, make way for the bishop, attack this point in the center. 100% approve of that. Very good. Now for white, I think I can still basically win with f6. Which I guess, I mean, I called this a good move, but this move seems to win for white. Maybe there was a move that didn't lose to f6, but this does seem to lose to f6, right? f6 takes, check, here, here, and the rook is trapped. So that seems to be completely winning. Too bad. Bishop g5 got played. All right, I'm going to have two games I go back and forth between, I think, because I see another game that looks pretty exciting. I want to see a little bit of this. We've got the National Master, again, way down on time, less than a minute against 6 minutes. But also it looks like this game, the National Master is like crushingly winning, right? They've got the bishop here against bishop and knight, and they've got this point on c2 they're attacking. Somebody just told you, Death Killer. Several people are telling you. They're giving you the info so that I can keep doing the commentary. Just check the chat box that you're chatting in. Okay, queen f3, trying to get queens off the board. Black does the trade. White has to take back with the g-pawn, not the knight, because the knight is the last thing covering c2. So we go to the endgame. Black's still down a pawn, still has the bishop pair, still has some counterplay against c2, but white's got a lot of survival chances with the queens off the board. Because if white loses the c2 pawn, that may or may not end the game, right? The game might continue. Okay, bishop e5. This is what black would have played next with queens on the board as well. Just take and take is the threat. Okay, so things that could happen here. White could play rook to d2, and then black's got some overloading tactics. Like rook d2, takes. Now a choice, right? You can take with the bishop or rook, or you could take here. Black takes here, here, purposely going down in exchange. They lose because back rank mate is threatened, so they can't take any of these pawns. Black has to take time out to get rid of back rank mate. White defends all the pawns and wins the game. So if rook d2 takes, black's other option is to go for some version of this, right? Takes. Now this rook and pawn endgame should be about equal. White's structure is really bad, but their king's already in position to attack these pawns on the queen side, which I think will more or less make up for the structure. It'll probably be about equal because White's king's better. Let's see what they're doing in the game. Rook d2 was played by Mitch. Rosenberg's got 25 seconds and ticking to decide whether or not to go for that pawn win or to keep the tension longer with a move like rook c4. And black plays rook c4. All right. So now white could calculate rook d1 or what? On knight b3, there's rook trades and then rook c2 check and taking b2, black's completely winning. So if the knight moves, it looks like black basically wins the game. So white mainly has to calculate this. Then bishop takes, this rook takes, rook check, king here, and there's discoveries. But the king can go to a1 and white's still winning. So black can't win by taking on d4, keeps the tension. Yet another move longer. The tension, it's getting hotter. Black wants to hold Mitch under the water. Ooh. Very scary for Mitch here. Very scary. The threat, he didn't play this, but the threat is something like this. Right? Now, how much does this cost Mitch to get into this situation? Like 2 pawns maybe? Not necessarily the end of the world. 10 seconds for black. Something's happening. All right, Mitch played knight f5. A shot going for back rank mate and cutting this off for the moment. But bishop f6 just calmly defends it. And now Mitch is losing material. It's over. It's over. Black's going to get into b2 as well now. You don't have to pay Death Killer. You just have to join the tournament. And Mitch resigns with a little too much time on the clock, 4 minutes. I think if I realized that I was losing-ish here, I would spend another 4 minutes thinking about my moves. I wouldn't play like knight f5 and then just lose to rook c2. This position is not so over as to just resign. Was maybe knight c6 better? Splitting up the rooks, threatening the same back rank mate, but after bishop here, what's the follow-up? This is still the position where white needs a move, right? This is the position where white still needs a move. In the game, after this, someone's asking, wasn't king to c1 maybe playable? With back rank issues. I mean, it seems like it's white who's got back rank issues, right? That they're getting windmilled. Nobody wants to be in a windmill. A windmill will break your heart and make you like resign. Oh, there's knight e4, sorry. White could get out of the windmill. So the live position was this. Could white play king c1 and keep going? I mean, the first answer is no, but... I mean, okay, so if the knight blocks, I mean, it's not really a problem, right? If knight blocks, rook here, and these pieces are dead. Bishop's covering back rank mate. So we can just windmill. So yeah, I mean this position here was a resignation, I would say. That's fair to say. But here maybe there's something a little tougher. Back to our other game is already finished. Already finished. Let's see the last couple moves of this game. King d1, knight c5, bishop g5, f6. Trades. Oh, and black didn't take back. Perhaps because after bishop check, if the king goes to the e file, rook e1 is winning, and if the king goes to f7, queen g7 is winning. So black doesn't take back, moves the queen. White takes, and now black simply resigned here. Which, that I don't quite understand. I would make my opponent play another couple moves, but it's true black's got 13 seconds and they are losing, so I can also understand it. But when I've got 13 seconds and I don't have time to figure out whether or not I'm losing, I just bash out some more moves, and wait to find out if I'm losing or not. I don't have enough time to worry about it. I just make some moves. So, I'd play something like this, and then white might find a move like queen f4 doing this, and white might win. But I don't have to figure it out. I just have to make a move and let white find it out. Okay, let's pick another game to watch, shall we? Opposite colored bishop endgame, always good to have a little bit of technical chess in your life, right? So white's got 2 extra pawns. This is going to be right on the borderline between a draw and a win. I think it's probably a draw, but it'll be interesting to find out, won't it? It's a close call. 19 seconds for white. So what white would like to do is bring this king to g5, then maybe play f5. Bishop f3, yeah, because if king f5, there'd be king d5. But now the king can come to e6. It doesn't. Okay, so now I'd bring my king up. I think the black king should have gone to e6 last move for sure. I mean, you never let your opponent improve their king for free. There's no advantage to doing that. d5 is correct. We can't give that pawn. And our king already has a direction in mind. Now, the idea here is that by attacking h4, we'll stretch black's defenses a little bit and try and get access to this pawn moving up the board. King g4 may force the bishop back. But black could also just play king f6 here. Okay, goes this way. So now we're going to see f5, bishop here. No! No, your pawn! No! Don't trade pawns when you're trying to win a game. No, 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 no. Don't trade pawns. This position is drawn now. And before this, I think white had some chances. The easiest way to draw this is to move the king to h8 now. And then when this pawn goes up this way, you put your bishop on a5. You can always sack for it on d8. Did I get the right... Did I figure out the color squares correctly this time with the rook pawn? I got it wrong once in commentary recently. I just assumed it was going to be a wrong color bishop, and I hadn't checked the corner correctly. Okay, king heads this way. It's not quite the right defense by black, but it may still be enough. This bishop should come to e6. Take away some squares. Oh no, that gives white this with tempo. Why would you ever bring your bishop right in their face? Bishops don't like being in the face. Okay, black can still just barely draw, but they're playing the moves all wrong. So I would have hope as white. Still a draw. Time to push it. Yep. Does black still have a draw here? I don't think so. Actually, well, I'm not sure, but it looks like they may have lost now because king here, h7. The king can't get across. So the bishop has to cover it. But can the white king get across then? Yeah, I guess we don't know for sure yet. Yeah, bishop e5, king here is still enough. Now this bishop should come here. It's a good try. But I can put the king on f8 and still hold on. Bishop comes off of this diagonal, giving up a square for the white king to use. Again, the wrong idea. Wow. It's intense. Black is still drawing, but like still with their pieces, like, I mean, just using the pieces wrong, right? Like in theory, you can also draw maybe with king here, bishop here, but it's so wrong. It's so wrong. Right, bishop e5 check is the key move here. All right, black gets the draw. GG. GG. The round's pretty much coming to an end. All right, I'm going to sit down for rounds 3 and 4 and then get back up after that. Just keep switching around positions. Pin variation to Sicilian goes e4, c5, knight f3, e6. d4, cd4, knight d4. And then black plays knight f6, attacking the e-pawn. White plays knight c3, defending it. And black plays bishop b4, attacking the knight, and thus... well, and pinning the knight, and thus threatening the pawn on e4. That's the pin variation. Every now and then, it's good to take a little stretch, get some water, move your body. Look away from your chess screen for a second, change focal length. See if you can do push-ups with injuries. Yeah, no problem. Definitely feeling much better today. Okay. All right. Let's get settled in for rounds 3 and 4. So, I also noticed that in the verified section, nobody's withdrawing. Everybody's playing all their games. Pretty cool. There is a Dojo Talk coming up, yes. Yeah, I think after this tournament, I'll do a rap song for you guys while we're waiting for Jesse and Kostya to get the whole Dojo Talk set up. Then we'll do the Dojo Talk, and then we will do Dojo, and then we'll have Dojo Scrubs today as well. All right. Today, Dojo Talks Etiquette. Yara Hunt, you could still try to join. You can try. We're in round 3, so you could play round 4 if you get in now. The slots may all be taken, though. You know, there's a limit. Chess.com allows a limited number of late joins, like 30% of the total number of people who joined in round 1. So if the tournament had 15 people, it allows 5 late joins in that section. There's 5 different sections depending on your rating and all that. And there is a poll up with only 2 votes. Wow. Poll's just a joke anyway. It's a joke about it's a joke about me knowing a lot of Eminem songs, but I will not be doing Eminem today. I'll give you guys some other options when round 4 is done. Oh, look at that tactic. Sort of winning a knight, but there's also this knight hanging. Intense moment. Yara Hunt, if you try and join the Chess Dojo Club, it should just enter you into it immediately. And then you should be able to join one of the 3 dojo sections, of which there are 3 tournaments today. One of them should be your rating level. So either 13 to 1700, 1700 plus, or under 1300. Okay, so black in this position chose to give another check and develop the knight instead of playing, queen takes knight, queen takes knight. I had a feeling like somehow black should be winning there, but I didn't see it for sure either. Oh, there's a prediction. There's a prediction live. Let's see what the prediction is. Who wins the game? Rosenberg versus Eyelash. Ooh, it's a big battle. Yes. Okay, so this game, check, check here. Knight comes out. King comes out into the center. I would have taken the chance to retuck my king at this point, Jacob. Let's see, Rosenberg versus Eyelash. The position that people are supposed to predict based on is this game here. White's got the center, black's got the bishop pair. It looks like a Catalan more or less. Black is pretty solid. Which game do you want to stay on, Irud? Eyelash versus Rosenberg, or the game I was on with Jacob Pham versus A. Maurer with the king rushing? This game will probably be over first. Knights being traded. Black has a very, very strong attack here. Very, very strong. I think rook f4 probably led to checkmate right there. Yeah, it did. Rook f4 would be checkmate because king here, you can go check here and mate. Right? But let's go back. So in the game, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. It's close to checkmate, but not quite. Queen g5, king over. Here's Rosenberg versus Eyelash. For those of you trying to make a prediction, I'll put it up again for 1 second, then go back to Pham versus A. Maurer. We're going to watch this to end. You guys can think about how you would checkmate if you were black, if you could find a way. If you could find a way. Probably rook f2 is the best move here, keeping the king from hiding back inside here. Rook f2, threatening queen h6 with a continuing attack, but it's not easy at all. Black just grabs a pawn for the moment. Lane confirms that rook f2 was strong. And we've got a question about what about g5? Is g5 good here? g5. I don't think so. Unless it checkmates, it's weakening our own king. And I don't see how it threatens to checkmate. Like g5, g4 is the idea. At the moment, I don't see why that would be good for black. Whoa! Game just ended. All right, so what happened was the rook came up to defend from the side. Queen check, king back, queen f1. Found a nice spot. Congrats to A. Maurer, right? Very, very nice. All right, so let's pop over to Rosenberg Eyelash. I mean, probably these two players are both like huge time trouble junkies. Not to like give you guys too much info for your prediction game, but both of these players tend to get down to like a minute with lots of pieces still on the board. So we can expect that they'll spend like 10 or 15 minutes thinking about this position here without it changing too much, you know, like on just like 2 or 3 sort of maneuvering kind of moves. And then eventually there'll be like a flurry of wild moves later on. Thanks, Slow Tide. Glad to hear it. All right, Ira Hunt, you managed to figure your way into the tournaments. Great. You're only going to get one game, so I hope it's a really interesting game. But you can play in our tournaments in the future now that you know how to do it, and we run multiple tournaments every week. So. Oh, on Paul 1E4, the Jacob Pham game was in the under 1300 section. The game with the queen and rook chasing the king. No prizes in most of the tournaments, Slow Tide. Mostly just, you know, to play chess is the whole goal and purpose and prize. Yeah. Okay, we've also got a pretty like sick matchup in that same section before the under 1300 section of Banana Stand against MJGG, both on 2 and 0, both very, very strong players for this section. And we've got this check coming in. So it looks like Banana Stand's in huge trouble here since the king hasn't castled and looks like it won't ever castle. G3 can probably be answered by knight takes G3, just winning the game for black, I think. Actually, knight G3, queen F2, rook E8. Maybe it's not like 100% dead for white if they play G3 and queen F2. That's like a weird solution, but it might be the best. But more likely white's going to play king F1 and we'll get, you know, and then we can just say, okay, white's got kind of a bad position because the rook and king are sort of awkwardly stuck like that in the wrong side of each other. But the game would go on. Whereas G3, it could get more tactical immediately. Yeah, you were in a tough bracket today, Falk. That's for sure. Sounds like you're chilling pretty good, Raphael. I'm 39 right now, Slow Tide Sound, I believe. Really starting to close in on 40. I mean, we're all losing a whole year to this to this pandemic, so it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy how old I'm getting. And honestly, I feel much older than that. I feel like 60 or 70, all these aches and pains and constant injuries. Not bouncing back from them. Okay, yeah, sorry. I suggested maybe king f1 would be played, but I suppose knight g3, even without a pawn there, would have been, you know, quite a setback for white. So white didn't go for that, of course. White played this, which does allow knight f2 and knight h1, which is also completely, like, just game over, KO. So probably the only real hope was this move, g3, knight g3, queen here, oddly covering the knight and stopping knight takes h1 at the same time. Black can play rook e8 check, but, you know, white can just move the king onwards, and maybe the game goes on. I mean, it doesn't look like it should, but maybe it does. Maybe even block. And if knight takes, take here, and there's no discovered check devastating enough. So g3 was definitely the only move that doesn't instantly lose here. Yoga's the best ailment or best remedy for an ailment? I've been trying to arrange like a yoga class. I've only had one in my life, like 10 years ago, and or 8 years ago, and it was really painful. I didn't enjoy it or have a high opinion of it for me, but I'm gonna try and take a second yoga class and see what it does. Right, if I can make it to 50, I'll be accustomed to it. it's great. That's great. Anyway, what age to teach kids at? I'll show you, Kyle. I'll show you. I mean, the answer is, like, you can start teaching whenever your kid is interested, right? So if your kid's not interested at 10, it's not yet time to teach them. If your kid is interested at 2, you can teach them already. How to teach toddlers chess. Where's my video? Teaching chess to kids, top 5 mistakes. Where's my video? There we go. Here's a more comprehensive answer to that question. Okay, so this game is going hopefully pretty brutally. Let's see. Knight check, king here, took the rook, saved the knight, took the knight. Oh, brutality. Oh, taking every piece off the board. And MJGG wins this one. Although the knight's not going to escape, but black will still win this one. Hey, Hack Genius, I don't accept requests to join tournaments. You just join the tournament. It's just on chess.com, live chess. You just join it. Yeah. If your 4-year-old likes watching you play and ask questions, but her attention span for much simpler games usually isn't that long, so I think she needs a few years. Maybe, Kyle, but what you can do is you can give her basically like chess mini games to start on, if she has the interest for them. If you check out that video, you'll see all my suggestions and advice. So I'm not going to all like repeat them right here. Hawk Genius, there are 3 sections that are for not Chess Dojo Verified Club. You can try and join one of them. We're in the last round, so you need to just hurry up and like click into a tournament if you want to play. It's round 4 out of 4, so there's no time. GM Larry. Let's see who that is. Let's see who GM Larry is. We were, Banana Stand, we were. So Hack Genius, using that play command, just find the section that's the right one for you. GM Larry used to always be, people thought, Larry Christensen. Just find the second. Let's see it who is now. Larry the Chess Kid. Perhaps not Larry Christensen. But Larry, thank you for the raid, and feel free to introduce yourself to me as well as to our whole stream. We're happy to hear about your stream, who you are, and what you're doing. And Slow Tide Sound, what do I do besides streaming? They don't, Hack Genius. They don't. Two of them do, and three of them don't. These are our normal tournaments that that we run every Sunday. Hack Genius, we're just also running these verified ones for the first time here. A little kid. Nice. And are you a grandmaster, or are you hoping to become a grandmaster? And do your parents know that you're streaming chess? Are they aware that you're like on Twitch? I'm going to bring up another game while we do a little too much chatting here, folks. All right, so this is how this game has gone. White advanced with e5, and black played c5, countering white's center. But black didn't have c5 covered enough times. White wins a pawn on c5. Now, if black trades everything on c5, b3 will be hanging at the end, but the queen on c5 will be really strong. The a pawn will be in trouble, and white's rook will be good as well. So it'll be a bad position for black if they trade off on c5 as well. Other option for black, something like queen b6. Nope, it can't get there. All right, so computer showing me it can't get there. Okay, some trade coming in. I almost feel that trading rooks to get back this pawn worsens black's chances. Oh, except bishop b3 allows queen a4. That's good for actually trying to draw. Okay. I'm going to change my tune there. I'm wrong all the time, so it's not like a big deal. Anyone who's like surprised or horrified by it, it's just normal. Everybody's wrong most of the time, including me. Bishop b3, so it's going to allow queen a4. And yeah, rook here. Now on bishop here, there's queen a5. So now black can't take this, but it took the rook off the open file. So now black can defend themselves, right, with queen a8 or queen d8. Queen a8, you would like to bring out your rook, but it's opposite this bishop. So any move like knight d4 is really scary after queen a8. You'd have to double check it a little bit. Like, does it all hold together with just bishop coming back? Otherwise, you could play queen d8, but that's slow to develop the rook. And you do need to develop the rook. Okay, so I would guess, my instinct is that actually eyelash is okay here. Since it forced the rook back to a1, I think the position should be about equal here probably. Or, you know, close enough to equal. Probably queen a8 is right. Is there any devastating move for the knight? Nothing particularly devastating, and the bishop dropping back will protect the queen. Knight c2 is also interesting. Is it lane? It looks like kind of just a wandering knight. Oh, does it kick the rook off of the a pawn, and then you're going to play queen a4 and defend the knight? So you're concretely figuring this out, right? That you hold that. And then like this move, knight d4, I suppose. You guys like it a lot, okay. I'm guessing you're coming out here. To me, this stuff all looks very risky. Knight takes. If queen takes, you win this. If knight takes, it's a fork. And white's going to have to do something like queen c4 with a draw. Okay, maybe you could go knight c2. Maybe you could. Maybe that's what she's looking at. All right. Take care of that homework, Larry. See you around. Nice, Race to GM. Nice. I always like having a super crazy game. Eyelash still in the tank on this one. It's a pretty important move, especially if she's going to try and play knight c2 and try and take the pawn and win the game with like wandering pieces. That's worth a lot of time to look at it. Sorry, guys. She played my move. Now I'm all happy that my move got played for some reason. Charlie with a Seth request. The position is super complicated. That's a good move, getting off of the line of the rook while still focusing on this square here. It's probably a good position for Seth, but like extremely complicated. Extremely complicated, not easy at all. Rook up to d3 defends the pawn on b3. Bishop tries to come off of a square where it was attacked, but it's still attacked, and it does allow rook d7 check now. I guess the king can come back, and there's no immediate danger there. The game's balanced on a knife's edge. Let's see what's happening with the eyelash game. Queen a8, white's thinking about it. Yeah, on any knight move, I think bishop d5 is very solid. The game should be completely equal here, is my thought. Rook check, came in. All right. Wow, Emi-kun, you came back from a piece down? That's intense. I know you're on 3 out of 3, so good on you. You got a chance to win the tournament this next round, don't you? Kachitaika? Do you want to win? Do you want to win? Knight d4, bishop back, trade, trade. Oh, the knight, not the queen. All right, keeping another piece on the board for more complications. I thought it would just be queen d5, knight d5. That feels like a mistake to keep the queens on the board. Isn't white's queen just better placed than black's? Why no queen d5? I think that had to be a mistake. I can't see a reason for black not to play that. Now white grabs the file, and the knight's got c6, and black is still under mild unpleasantness. I think that depends on the person, Cannibal. Wow, Banalsos and Seth are down to seconds each. Where did Seth's bishop go? Here, check, here, here. Took on b3, dropping the bishop. I knew it was still undefended. Ah, brutal. Brutal. Eyelash probably wants to play for a win. Yeah, but I think it's a mistake here. She's just worse, right? She's just worse. White's got the file. White's got the attacks on this. White's got like more space for their pieces at the moment. It's a really tough position for black, honestly. It's like a real, like, get tortured. If you trade on b5, it's very, very bad because white plays a takes b and gets a passed pawn. that definitely makes things worse. You do not want to trade that way. Like if you're going to trade, you have to do it with this rook. Or you can play queen b6. And if queen takes, take with your knight. That's fine too. Queen b6 can be played here. Rook 8 is the choice. I was thinking maybe rook f8 would be the next move there. Here black can actually probably play rook b6. I know it looks weird, but I think it's pretty solid, actually. We don't want to wait for white to improve the rook to one of these squares. We want to force the issue, I think, with rook b6 here. Obviously, black's only struggling for a draw. Seth hung the bishop on c5. It was like dangling to the opponent's queen, and he moved away his queen that was protecting it. Knight b4. Okay, so we're expecting the move rook c5 from white, and black's plan is probably knight d3. That's not a good endgame for black. Oh no, what? Black's not going to take on e5. Black's going to play knight b2 after all the trades. Okay, that's okay. Knight d3 is okay here. Oh, no, 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 not passive, not okay. f4, perhaps? And then bring out the king? Okay. g6, why not? Yeah, good move. Nargath enjoying being the lowest rated player in his tournament today. And Nargath has won another game. Nargath's got 2 out of 3 going into round 4. And an extra 30 rating points on the day. Seth is getting finished off here. But this game is the one that the prediction rides on, and it is still on. Oh man, Eyelash saved it. What? How did she save it so quickly? It looked like it was pressure. White goes here, here, here to avoid knight c5 fork, here, here, and just traded. I guess white just didn't see a way to win anymore and had 20 seconds, so there it went. Huh. Okay. So everybody, it's almost time to get... I mean, some of you may already be in round 4. There's 1 or 2 games still going. We've got Renek against Aaron here. Bishop versus knight. And equal material, but complicated Grunfeld position. Black king's a bit weak. Black would probably be pretty good in the endgames. Has a little bit of worry here in the middle game. Bringing all the pieces to the king makes sense. We've got a draw offer coming in on some board. Perhaps Francis against 74. A draw has been offered, but black is better, so they won't take it. King here, rook here. White can counterattack those pawns and probably get a draw. Probably white does have the draw, but of course black's going to say, prove it! Prove it! But they've still got a minute each, so we're going to stick with the guys with 18 seconds. Black successfully got to the endgame. That's step one. Now black also has to play the endgame well. It feels like b6 is forced, but black's thinking a while. Is black worried about rook b4? Perhaps. There's only so many things to be worried about. Bishop f3 first to stop rook f2. Yeah, I think that was a great move by Renek. Now what to do? Okay, attack the d5 pawn a bunch. Sure. Knight f6. We're going to get rook c4 here. These guys are playing it at a high level, I think. I suspect. They're playing too fast for me to know for sure if it's at a high level, but it looks like one. Here, white could trade the knight and go rook a7 to win a pawn. Black will probably play rook a5 and sack the e7 pawn. Activate the king, get white's rook passive to defend a2. The rook's really well placed on a5. Then you go rook a3, rook c2, king e5. Yep. I don't know how you can play a good endgame with 20 seconds on the clock. But as far as I can do, that's what they're doing, Raphael. Yeah, I don't know. King should be heading towards d3 right now. I mean, a mix of experience, fast calculation, yeah, some good endgame skills and instinct. You see black like making the right, I mean, white and black making the right choices, basically, of what to do with what they have. You know, black chooses to lose that pawn and activate the king and rook. And it just makes sense. King c3 may have actually been better. If black was afraid of the king and pawn ending, it would leave their king on like a3 to immediately go for this. Now black's got to choose whether to race or to run back. Normally an endgame like this is a draw, but... Okay, black chooses to come back. King b2, g4, king a2, h5, takes, b5, h6, b4, h7, b3, h8, b2, queen, g8 check, and white would have probably won. So that was probably the right choice not to race. Yeah, Uzumaki, it's almost done. We're into the last round already. I mean, this is the last game of round 3. Most of the other all the other sections have started round 4 already. We're going to watch this to the end, then open up all those round 4 games. a5 would be a nice blunder, allowing white to play a4 and freeze that side. Yeah, perhaps. Although, a5, a4, b5 takes, a4, b6, king d6, king e3, a3, king d3, a2. Black would actually win. White can't play a4 against b5 in that position. Okay. So this position here is a draw. White's king gets to those extra pawns over there first, but black's king can take the h-pawn and get back in time to draw. The drawing square is c8, in case anyone doesn't know. a6 hurts black's chances. Very badly, actually. But they can still make it. Just barely. Yeah, they have to play b4 there, and they did. Now king f5. And then king e6, d7, c8. Let's go, Aaron! Hold this. Well, Samuel, it's not like a unique drawing square in that there's other squares that draw, but if you can get to c8, that's the furthest away square from which you can force a draw. Right? Because from here, white can no longer keep the black king from getting here, other than by putting the king on the a file, and then black traps the king against the a file and holds a draw like this. You'll see, they're demonstrating it. In other words, you know that you can draw by getting to a8, right? The key is, like, what's the furthest away square that you need to be able to get to draw? And the answer is c8. So that's an easier way to calculate those endgames, by knowing you have to get to c8 and then you have a draw. All right. Enjoy the dad things. Sorry about the mouse slip, but I hope you overall still enjoyed the first verified tournament. Let Kostya know what you thought about it. Yeah, and you guys can see black just keeps the king on the side of the board. We get a draw by stalemate. They play it to the last move very quickly for all of you, so that you guys can see why and how it ends like that. Very, very good performance by them. Many thanks to those players. All right, let's open up some more games. Round 4 of 6. Eyelash versus Laurent. Cartier-Tank versus Alix. Rosenberg already finished this round with a quick win, perhaps based on Nargaf's mouse slip. Perhaps that was the matchup that already finished. So Rosenberg finished with 3 out of 4, and that means that Eyelash could win the whole tournament by winning this game, or could tie for first by drawing this game. All right, I opened some more games and tournaments. We've got Basil versus the finisher. Basil's in the lead with 3 out of 4 in this section. Reza Banauso, Seth versus Halgilda, Amanda versus Charlie Silva. And Basil's the only person with 3 out of 3 this round. So Basil controls the tournament. Basil has destiny in their hands. Right here, knight coming to h5, looking to just trade off some more material. What game would be good for a prediction? I haven't decided yet. I'll look for you. I'll look for it and let you know in a minute, Skaklo. I'm going to open all the games up, and then maybe I'll tell you which game I want to comment as my main game, and then you can use that for the prediction. All right. So in progress, this section here, games. We got Babel versus Castor. Oh, tell me it's a King's Gambit. Tell me I want to know something about this. Hubert versus Aaron with the b4 bird. That's also tempting. Julio versus Renek with the advanced caro that was an opening of the week once upon a time. In progress, this section here has a million games. Emil Kuhn versus Social Octopus. Knight, bishop, knight, queen, queen. Each with 3 out of 3. Winner wins the tournament. We haven't watched any of their games today. Position looks interesting. Let's do it, Skaklo. Put a prediction up. Don't make it too long. Don't make it like 10 minutes to predict. Make it like maybe 2 minutes or something. Or I don't know if you can control that. I know nothing about predictions. Do your thing. But we can have a prediction on this game. It looks fun enough. Black is up a pawn with the bishop pair and some immediate concerns, right? That Black's king isn't castled, that White's threatening rook takes d7, that Black's development looks overall a little bit more awkward than White's. Now, Black's not way down on development. White's got 2 minor pieces out. Black's got 2 minor pieces out. White's castled and put the rook on the open file, but it's Black's move. Like, technically, if Black castles queenside here, development's equal. So Black's only down half a tempo. But there's a little bit of awkwardness, it feels like to me. Maybe if castles, rook takes d7, queen g4 wins for White, right? So that's a concern too. King b1 was played just now because Black threatened bishop h6. That was a great move from Black to get sort of like a free move in towards bringing out the bishop because of that threat. So we get king b1 and Black thinking again. Bishop f5 is the move with a threat on c2. The prediction comes in. Okay, I'm going to open up some more games, but we're going to keep coming back to this one, okay? So, folks, for the predictions, it's this game here. Amy Kuhn versus Social Octopus. If there's a winner, the winner will win the tournament. If they draw, it'll probably be a tie for first place, although HP Bob Dole is also in the running for first place. Have I opened that game up yet? Not yet. Here's HP Bob Dole playing the Dragon, I think, and in danger of getting ended by Chestien. Here's Prophylaxis. I mean, we can always say that at least, right? If you play the Dragon, you're in danger. I mean, White's pawn structure was already in touch with Black's at G4 and H4 and stuff. Hack Genius manages to join for the last round, get in one game of progress. In the under 1300 section, we got the last game going of the round. So this tournament went a little bit faster. MJGG has White and is going to lose in the last round to Lucas. That's going to make a huge tie for first place, actually. Led the whole tournament, crossed 1300 during the tournament, but the other players were not willing to just give him the event. They chased, and finally Lucas was able to win a game and make a three-way tie in the tournament between MJGG, Charlie Boy, and Lucas 477. Congratulations to all three of them. And we now get back to our featured prediction game. Emi-kun Doko. Coco. Still thinking about this thread on C2. Emi-kun really playing the opening thoughtfully, choosing to invest a fair amount of time on the opening part of the game. Oh, there's another thread of Bishop H6, maybe like trapping the queen in here, because the bishop actually stopped the queen's lateral movements. Like, I first, when I saw this, thought like, oh, whatever, Bishop D3 develops a piece and stops a threat. But then Bishop H6. That's problematic. That's problematic. Although I will tell you guys, this move looks pretty exciting to me. I wouldn't give up on this variation. When I saw Bishop H6, I would try this out. Check. The king can go to D8 or F file, right? If it goes to D8, then after knight G5, we're threatening mate in 1, as well as bishop takes G4, as well as any discovery with the bishop. So White's going to get 3 minor pieces against a queen here and be winning against king D8. In my opinion, this is winning for White in this line here. Like, best Black could do is maybe like run the king out of smothered mate and out of the discoveries, and then White can play here, and White's got 3 minor pieces against a queen, and White's winning. In my opinion. Again, it's a controversial position. It might not be 100% sure that White's winning, but we've got rook d7 coming. If a rook tries to counter the d file, there's knight e6 and take the rook with the knight, then White's just up too much material. There's knight e4 coming in, and the pieces start defending each other. White's just got the whole mass. So in this position, I would think Black has to play here, then White plays here. Now in this position, White's threatening rook f1 to win back the queen, which would be winning for White, and White's threatening bishop takes knight. So the move here for Black would be either knight e3 or knight f6, something like that, right? And then my whole brilliant idea may fall apart. We've got 2 minor pieces only against the queen for the moment, so we need some more juice for White, or we lose. I think this is where my idea falls apart. Okay, let's see what happens in the game. White played bishop d3. Black played bishop h6, and White just went for a queen trade. That was the plan here. Emi-kun thought for 4 minutes before going into this, but after this just went for a queen trade. And I think knight f2 at the end is just going to win this game for Social Octopus, more or less. So Skaklo, you may have to just cancel the prediction. Because, I mean, basically the game was decided before the prediction ended. Black has won a rook, kept their extra pawn, and it's over. I'm going to go on to another game even. It's that over. We're going to go check on HP Bob Dole, who's also in this section playing for first place. If Bob Dole can win this game, he can tie with Social Octopus for first place. Of course, the first thing Bob Dole needs to think about is how not to get checkmated in 2 moves. Okay, you know more than me, Alexa. You know more than me. You and Skaklo can figure out the prediction thing. I know that people shouldn't mess with things that are way outside their expertise. It's not my expertise. My expertise is checkmating black in positions like this. And the way I do it is h5, just like chess tien. Then I take on g6, then I take on f7, then I take on g7, then I say checkmate. That's how I do it. It's just my way. Usually works. Well, always works. There just may be other ways to do it too. Note this bishop's action against f7, keeping this from being defended, keeping black from playing f6 or f5 at any point, if any of those moves even looked like a defense. Bishop c4 would be the one way to get one of white's pieces out of the attack. White can just trade, or trade here first and then trade. Either way, it's super over. There's a brilliant looking move that's bad. White could play this move, thinking they're being slick, controlling f6 to stop that as a defense to hg f6. And then after takes, checkmate, it doesn't work out. All right, see you, Hagilde. Good luck in your classical game for sure. I hope that goes well for you. Now after bishop takes b3, white doesn't even need to recapture. White can just take on f7, even though it lets the bishop escape. Because then at the end you play this move. And you see that the black king is checkmated. If they trade, it's checkmate. If they don't trade, this is one of the threats. hg6. Offering a queen trade. I would politely decline a queen trade here as white. With queen to the h file. Queen h4. White is indeed completely winning. Yeah. Oh, kid calling me. Hang on one sec. Oui, chérie? Problème? All right. Whoa, my other kid's like climbing some crazy thing in the back by himself. Hopefully he's okay there. All right, sorry. Back. What's the deal with Dojo Gold? Ah. The game hasn't... I thought I would miss the checkmate. I was afraid I would miss the checkmate. All right, so what happened was queen h4 as predicted. Queen here, to stop checkmates on the h file. Bishop takes knight, wins a piece even here, right? I mean, it's not exactly like the finish you're looking for, but it wins. But instead, white trades here, here, and moves the queen, right? Threatening to take on f6. Rook c6 holds on. Rook c6. Maybe white has in mind knight d5 here. That's a disturbing move. I think that's the best move. Well, I don't know. It's the first winning move that I notice. There may be other moves. This move wins as well, you guys think? Wow, good calculation, guys. Yeah, I like knight d5. I mean, bringing our last piece into the game and just leaving black so hopeless. Oh, I think Eyelash won her game and won the verified section. The verified 1600 plus is over. And it looks like Eyelash probably won it by winning this game here. I think. But we got to get back to our games. Amy Kuhn hasn't resigned, but is still down knight against rook and pawn. And here's Bob Dole. Here's Bob Dole. Chess Gen seems to have pretty solid calculation skills. Yeah. And you can tell from the speed of the moves after bishop g7 that they calculated everything before going for this, right? Now comes our more than weekly warning that it's hard to win endgames with an extra knight against pawns. You have to do it very carefully. Eliminating these pawns is a good start. No, Seth. That's something I pay close attention to. Here I would head for the A pawn with my rook, going back this way to this way. They are, Juan. Every Sunday. You can play rook f5 if you want to. I wouldn't fine you for it, but I certainly would not play it. You wanted to demonstrate Averbach technique. If you've got Averbach technique, sure, you can do it. This pawn's pretty easily defended. But anyway, you guys can see what I would have done. It didn't happen. Game goes on. Actually, by now, the other endgame is more interesting than this one, right? How to break down the knight with the rooks. Knight c5, rook c7. It's probably just a trap. Probably just loses for white. Thanks, Pleaf. Let me take a look. I think Basil's in the running for first place in this tournament as well. So, oh. Well, it looks like it's not going to be fun for much longer. It looks like white somehow just won a rook. Basil just patiently centralizes the queen, keeps the rook defended, tucks the king. You can win by just pushing your d-pawn if you want. Yeah, Basil looks like he's going to run away. Hishide is going to run away with this tournament. I think this is the under 1600s section here, maybe. And Basil's rating is just ready to cross 1600 for the first time, I think. Let me see if Basil's been over 1600 before. 1603 earlier this week is the highest, though. They've gained 185 points this month. So Basil was a 1400 recently. 1420 a month ago. And about to go 4 out of 4, it looks like. Nice, BG Cube. I'm so glad to hear that. And really, what is there better to win than a friend, right? I like how Basil is playing this, just bringing that pawn down the board. Very sure way of winning the game. Hey, Cartier. Saw your game with Eyelash today. Okay, and here comes the queen and the resignation. Congratulations to Basil. On a good tournament. Finally stops pushing the pawn. I would have totally, playing Guess the Move, predicted d8 queen right there. And finally been wrong. All right, anyway, we're going to go click to some other games. Let's see what's interesting. This looks like Aaron is winning with an extra bishop. Rooks got traded somehow in this one. Let's see. Sent the knight after the a pawn. I see. While threatening knight d4 check. Took it. Came after this pawn. Defended it. Chased. Took. Threatening knight check and knight takes pawn. So probably f5. Oh. No way Thor's Thunder. That doesn't make any sense. Doja Cat drops best friend music video. I just didn't believe him, DB Corporeal. I just completely didn't believe him. Chess Doja, huh? Wait, white took this pawn instead of the passed pawn? They're kind of in an alternate universe here, but I guess the logical result's still going to happen eventually, that white's going to win. White. Here I would have again gone to d6, but white pushed the a pawn. This is pretty random, their approach to this. Huh. Black could have tried king f2 to keep the white king away. Dojo talks etiquette today. Yeah. And the a pawn should eventually win here. What happened here? Charlie won. But they're talking like Amanda won. Okay, so what do we have? We've got this game here with still all the pieces on the board. Wow. While everything else is almost done. We've got an interesting rook and pawn endgame here. 2 extra pawns for Hack Genius. Means it's probably pretty close to winning for black. And Ollie Oxal's against Map View is another very interesting rook and pawn ending. Cool. So we've got a couple rook and pawn endings we can get to. All right, Chestian has got an extra queen. We're going to leave that game in the dustbin of history and move on to other things. Basil, from what we saw, I mean, we only saw the very end of it. And in the end of it, you were up a rook and you won very systematically, convincingly. Let me check in on the only middle game left, and then we'll spend a little time on rook and pawn endings today, okay? And try to fit in a little we'll try to fit in a song before the Dojo Talks etiquette. So let's see. White's got a knight against a rook with the black pieces a little bit discoordinated. Pawns are equal. So it's really down in exchange for this sort of king and rook position. You would think that white doesn't quite have enough. I would think that white doesn't quite have enough. Oh, Amanda, did you mess up the king and pawn against king endgame at the end here? Let's see. King here, drop back here. No, and you walked away. Oh, yeah. You always got to stay in front. Always got to stay in front. Yeah. You dropped back correctly. The most common way people mess this up is by like going to one of these squares, right? And then the opponent takes the opposition. You step aside. They play here. Zugzwanging you when you have to come out. That's the most common way this gets messed up. The harder part of this is knowing to drop straight back. That you did. But then you have to obviously front their king. If you walk away from a passed pawn, it's going to queen. That we know. If you walk away from a passed pawn, it'll queen. All right. Wait, how did that other rook and pawn endgame end already? Oh, what a trap! I figured this would be the last game going, and we would get to watch this game last between Ollie, Oxals, and MapView. So I was like waiting to wrap up the other two games and then watch this. But look at this trap from white. H3, leaving the F pawn here. It's also, maybe the best move white could play. And then rook F2, rook here. Brutal. So black had to try king F7, rook here, rook here, rook here, and the game goes on, right? Very, very tight rook and pawn endgame. We don't know if it's gonna be a win or a draw until this mistake came in. How's our other rook and pawn endgame going? We don't want to miss it. Ooh, the black rook is good. It's gotten in behind the pawns. Black is in position to win this endgame here. Absolutely. I think the maneuver rook c3 to c4 is one sort of simple-ish way to win from this position here. You do have to keep your eyes out for tactics in the endgame, as Paul says, but endgame tactics are often very different from middle game tactics. There's their own whole set of like patterns that come up in the endgames a lot that are very rare in middle games. So you need to practice endgame tactics at like a very basic level in a tactics trainer by setting like endgames as the theme at some point and just learn some of those patterns. Or maybe there's some like course somewhere with cool endgame patterns, but yeah. All right, let's check out Julio versus Renek. It's the most intense at the moment. Black going to like finish the game here. Hang on, what happened? Queen e4, bishop f6, takes, queen f4. Trying to get in here or give this check. e5, the queen's going to be able to give check. Oh, it was also trying to get the rook to c7, and black said no, no, no. So I would expect queen check now, but white's thinking, so there may be another option as well. Queen check comes in, king's going to come up. On knight f5, rook g8 just barely holds on and also pushes the queen out of there. I still believe in black. Oh, Ayara Hunt. If you are Eric Loves Hikaru, you'll want to like mute your stream so you don't hear what I think about this while you're playing. And then you can either watch the VOD later or, come in and ask us some questions when you're done playing. Okay, knight's threatened. May need to move. Yeah, no problem. It's your first time. You don't know. That's just our standard operating procedure here in the dojo. And folks, with only 2 games left, it's probably time to pick what song we should sing today, right? I'll give you guys some kind of a choice. See what Hoki and... Sorry, guys, communicating with the dojo about the plan for today. Unfortunately, it sounds like Costa is feeling bad, so we're going to change up our schedule a little bit, but we are going to keep streaming. Okay, the white queen has been pushed back successfully. Rook g8, then the knight develops, hurries to f4. Black hits a counterattack. Queen f2 might be possible, but black's got to double check queen e7 before going for it, and Renek has 40 seconds to do just that. Ooh, there's also rook h2. Rook h2! That's what you should calculate. He does it! Come on, Renek! Show us how it's done. That's how you calculate, folks. Boom! Boom! Renek pulls it off. Beautiful last round defense into a swift counterattack. And maybe one more thing for you guys to keep your focus and your hopes up when you're on the defending end of a game is to know that if you defend successfully, the counterattack can be swift and brutal. Right? The counterattack can be swift and brutal. And that's a nice thing to have in mind when you're playing some like tough and grim defensive moves when your opponent sacked material against you. Now, let's see how this endgame is going. Hack Genius has made a new queen. So what happened was, let's just see like the winning technique used. Here, just A5, just trading the pawn to get connected passers. And the pawns came down the board, keep the king at bay, push. Yeah, well done. Black wins that. All right, you guys want to see a knight g5 check move that looked scary at some point. So we'll have a look. Instead of knight f5, you're asking. Okay, let's see here. So this is the move, knight g5. Now, why is knight g5 scary? Enlighten me. What is scary about this? I don't know if I saw your pawn endgame, Paulson. Knight g5, the move after this, you think? So you guys want to try knight f5, rook g8, and then knight g5? Yeah, but still black's got everything covered. Black's just more or less up a rook at this point. Queen e5. I don't know on which of these knight sacks you guys want queen e5, but I mean, maybe here. You guys are looking at rook c7 or something. I don't know how big the lag is. Okay, you guys want it with knight f5. Rook here, knight check, takes here, queen here. Okay, so basically your only threat is rook c7, right? That's all you're living for? Or is there some kind of chance of a perpetual with queen e7, queen e5 as well? Queen e7, king g6, probably queen g5 check. King h7, queen h5 mate. Wow. Okay, so you're looking at two threats, rook c7 and queen e7. Okay, you still have a lot to live for. Roger that. All right, so we need like some major defensive move. Let me try this. Just gonna try something. Queen f6, creeping towards mate. Rook here, check. Knight blocks. I'm trying for you guys. I'm trying for you. I know I don't believe in it, and you know I don't believe in it, but I'm still trying for you. If this rook takes, you'd have queen h5. Even then, there's queen h6. Okay, so this doesn't work. Hang on. Rook c7, you all wanted here? Okay. See what's next. Thanks, Anesia. Guys looking at knight e7. But white's down at rook. This stuff is not going to pan out. This stuff is not going to pan out. You're down too much. I mean, you can try and trade off a few pawns. It'll require good endgame technique from black to win this endgame, actually. Why I have to take away the fun? Because you guys are here for some you know, some IM moves, right? So I'm throwing in some IM moves. You guys want to know how good or bad this position is, so I'm trying to show you. You guys want knight e7 here instead of queen f6? You can have that. You can have that. I don't really know what that move does, so I'll just develop a piece. And wait to find out what knight e7 was about. Okay. Well, all the games are done in the tournament, so we could keep looking at this, or I could sing you guys a song. Now you grab an exchange and hold. You're going to hold this position? Like you're taking here and giving me f2? And you think you're going to hold? You're not. You're not. This is pretty done. Yeah, black did end up winning, Dude Co. All right, let's put up a poll and offer you guys your choice of songs. What do I know? Okay, I thought about this a little bit. I might even be misspelling this because my German's not that good. What else could I maybe do? All right, here's a few options. The last one is is a mashup of Dr. Zeus and Kanye West that I've invented but never actually sung. So I don't really know it, but we'll see. 3 out of 4 ain't bad for HP Bob Dole. It wasn't bad, Bob Dole. It was a good tournament, yeah. We're not checking with any metal fishes, Cannibal Bishop. Oh, God. You guys are going for something I've never actually sung. I really should have prepared it. I prepared one of these 5 songs. I practiced singing along to the German song a couple times this week in my car. The other 4, not. play knight g5. Don't worry. I know you guys don't even know how to clip anything. Charlie, I can't sing. I can only rap. So it was always only going to be rap songs. It was never going to be anything else. Oh man, so close. By 2 votes, the song that I prepared is losing to the song that I have never even sung once in my entire life. Oh my god. That's too bad. All right, you guys win. Oh man, it's got the the when it all falls down. I need to change the chorus as well. All right. I'm going to stand up for this. This is going to go really badly. But I guess the point of this should be for it to go badly, not for it to go well. I would say that by my standards, the last song, the Brother Ali song I did, went well. That was a song I knew reasonably well. So there was no problem there. All right. So, okay. So let me clarify for you guys. You're not going to be able to hear like the, you're not going to be able to hear the chorus, right? But in my mind, in this song, instead of when it all falls down, it's when the small fall down. Okay? Because that's what this is here. But you guys didn't clip that one, which I think I more or less sang it correctly. All right. Am I allowed to have this like video thing playing here on the side, or am I going to get in trouble for that? What should I do? Is this a problem? If I just have this like over here with this kind of thing? It's going to be okay? Okay. All right, so it's when the small fall down. Okay. Ugh. This sucks. I'm nervous. Okay. When the small fall down. When the small fall down. When the small fall down. Telling you all when the small fall down. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton, the elephant,
heard a small noise, so Horton stopped splashing. He looked toward the sound. That's funny, thought Horton. There's no one around. He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. I say, murmured Horton, I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that is able to yell. So you know what I think? Why, I think that there must be somebody on top of that small speck of dust. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that he'll blow in the pool he has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him, because after all, a person's a person no matter how small. When the small fall down, I'm telling you all, when the small fall down, not now, Mom, when the small fall down, telling you all, when the small fall down. So gently and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air. He took that small speck and he placed it down. Sorry, my mom won't stop calling me. 1 second. Turn off my phone. All right, let me just back this up a second. Okay. So gently and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air. He took the dust speck and carried it over and laid it down safe on a very soft clover. I think you're a fool, laughed a sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. You're the biggest blamed fool in the jungle of Newell. And the kangaroos plunged in the cool of the pool. Through the high jungle treetops the news quickly spread. He talks to a dust speck, he's out of his head. The Wickersham brothers came yelling, what rot! This elephant's talking to who are not. They snatched Horton's clover. They carried it off to a black-bottomed eagle named Vlad Vladikoff, a mighty strong eagle, a very swift wing, and they said, will you kindly get rid of this thing? I don't know what this track is doing now, but here I would say, when the small fall down, I'm telling you all, when the small fall down. All right, we'll skip ahead a little bit. Okay. All late that afternoon and far into the night, the black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight while Horton chased after with groans over stones that battered his bones and tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, please don't harm all my little folks who have just as much right as us bigger folks do. But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping and over his shoulder said, quit your yapping! I'll fly the night through. I'm a bird, I don't mind it, and I'll hide this tomorrow where you'll never find it. And come morning, he dropped that small clover inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide. Find that, sneered the bird, but I think you will fail. And he left with a flip of his flat-bottomed tail. I'll find it, cried Horton. I'll find it or bust. I shall find my friends on my small speck of dust. And clover, by clover, by clover, with care, he picked up and searched them and called, are you there? By clover, by clover, by clover, he found that the one that he sought for was just not around. All right. Looks like the instrumental track is done there. So that's what I've got for you for today. All right. Now I'm reopening this thing. I got off on the instrumental track because of the phone calls, so I was just trying to click to like the right place. Anyway, let's see if Jesse's ready to take over. Jesse's ready to go in 3 minutes. Okay. Anyway, I came up with that a couple years ago because I was trying to teach my students in English class about, like iambs and like stressed and unstressed syllables and stuff like that. And so I was trying to explain to them that, how to find what the stresses are and how to map stresses onto like the beats in a song so that they could see that like you can map Dr. Seuss directly onto like beats of whatever modern songs they were into. Yeah, enough time for one more song. All right. I'll do the one that I've prepared in case it actually has a I don't even know if it has an instrumental. Sonnenmaschine instrumental. No. Shoot. Well, that's a problem. Does this have the whole thing or instrumental?
I just purchased this brand new Lamborghini Huracan as well as this Malibu mansion in the hills.
Okay. Ein Lächeln kann einen dunklen Raum erhellen. Ich speichere goldene Strahlen in den grauen Zellen. Ich schalte den kalten Neonröhren wieder ab und baue eine Sonnenmaschine mit 1000 Gigawatt. Mein Leben ähnelte ne schwachen Drama, ich mache aus dem B-Movie-Drehbuch wieder ein Kassenschlager. Das Himmelstor ist zu, ich stehe draußen vor, ich nehme 2 schon wird ein Meer aus dem Moor. Die ganzen Niederlagen tun gar nicht weh, ich mache ein Lied aus dem Leid, indem ich die Buchstabe dreh, hab meine Wut abgelegt, lass die Löwe kämpfen, sollen die andere Sprüche klopfen, so wie Höhlenmenschen. Ich will nicht wie ein Kegel durch das Leben tauben. Eher nehme ich mir einen Strich und lass die Seele baumen. Geigenhumor, du zieht mein Lebenslauf. Ich sehe nie wieder schwarz, nicht mal mein Ray-Ban auf. Ich schalte die Nebel aus, sehe besser statt dem Mähdrescher, mach den Großstadtdschungel platt bis auf die Kleeblätter. Vom Gipfel des Schrottbergs kommt ne Lawine, ich nehme die Einzelteile und baue eine Sonnenmaschine. 100.000 Watt, Millionen Volt. Meine Sonnenmaschine verwandelt Stroh in Gold. Schalt die Nebel um, schalt die Nebel ab. Und die leuchtenden Wellen durchfluten jede Stadt. Lass die Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen. 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 He does it a bunch of times. Lass die Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen. Lass die Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen. Mein Leben ähnelte eine Schrotteillage, doch ab heute mache ich Träume wahr wie Hochzeitsplaner. Meine Ex war eine 10, hat mich lebendig begraben. Ab jetzt kommen ein paar Elfen vor, wie auf Fantasy sagen. Yeah, man spürt nur Frust, wenn man Frust wieder frisst. Man ist zwar lost, doch aus der Last wird ne Lust mit ne List. Die ganze Märchen sind nur künstliche Müll, weil der Gin aus der Flasche mir keine Wünsche erfüllt. Ich zahle Rot in den Raten, pflanze Rosen im Rasen. Die Vorsätze sind tot, ich mach die Toten zu Taten und brich das Dach des Welt über meinen Kopf zu sagen. Ich flech jede Pechsträhne zu nem Hoffnungsstrang. Ich schalte die Nebel aus, sehe besser statt dem Mähdrescher, macht der Großstadtdschungel platt bis auf die Kleeblätter. Vom Gipfel des Schrottbergs kommt ne Lawine, ich nehme die Einzelteile und baue eine Sonnenmaschine. 100.000 Watt, Millionen Volt. Meine Sonnenmaschine verwandelt Stroh in Gold. Leg die Hebel um, schalte den Nebel ab. Und die leuchtenden Wellen durchfluten jede Stadt. Lass die Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen. Lass die Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen. Lass die Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen. Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen. Lass die Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen. Lass die Welt strahlen, Welt strahlen. Ein Lächeln kann den dunklen Raum erhellen. Ich speichere goldene Strahlen in den grauen Zellen. Ich schalte den kalten Neonröhren wieder ab und baue eine Sonnenmaschine mit 1000 Gigawatt. Alright. We're not going to say Weltstrahlen another 500 times. Tired. Tired of being nervous. All right. That's it. I'm going to bring Jesse in for you guys.
Cat Jam.
What does Vegtanen? Vegtanen? I don't know. Weltstrahlen. Let the world shine. Lass die Welt strahlen. Let the world shine. Sonnenmaschine is sun machine. Like, the Sonne is the sun. Oh, wait. Jesse's over here. Okay, he's ready. All right. I'm done, guys. I'll leave you with Jesse Cry. And have a great day.